that Aroldis Chapman is going to go to the Kansas City Royals. So my first reaction right off the bat, and actually I found out from your message, I was out on a run and I got the message from you. And I think the first thing I sent to you was just a whole bunch of dots and just why. So you broke the news to me. So what was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is funny how, like, as we get the calendar ticks off the days, the news, the impact of the news, I guess, the size, the girth of the news it dwindles. But yeah, Aroldis Chapman going to Kansas City to the Royals. And your response was actually kind of more lengthy than mine because I didn't have a word. I didn't use. I stared at the screen and I had to like double check to make sure that was correct. And so when you look at it, it's odd, right? Because if you're Chapman, you want to kind of, I assume, you want to get back in the game and show everybody you're healthy and you're effective and that you're maybe possibly close to the elite reliever that you were. And so, reestablishing your value makes sense for him. But on a team like Kansas City, where, if our listeners will go back and listen to our AL Central episode, I don't know that that's the team that you want to try and reestablish value for. And if you're Kansas City, I mean, maybe they get more out of it. If he is healthy and he is effective, maybe they can flip him in July. But this is, in all honesty, this might be my WTF move of the winter because it makes not much sense.
Well, it happened on the episode we thought it was going to happen, just not on the division, right? We thought it was totally going to be for the Colorado Rockies, which we're going to get to later in this episode. We thought they were going to have the WTF award for the second year in a row, obviously last year with the Chris Bryant pickup. But, I'm with you at this. I know that Kansas City is trying to build up, and I hate to throw all this ill will towards Kansas City because what they're building is very impressive. They have a lot of great prospects, but I just don't know if that's the right piece. Now, obviously, you look at the deal, the stipulation here. It's a 1-year deal, $3.75 million with a couple of bonuses for performance. So obviously, it's going to be vested towards his performance. So it could be an easy flip. You're absolutely right. However, when you just look at this, you've seen that he's had off-field issues and he's had clubhouse issues just recently with the New York Yankees. In the postseason, he was left off the postseason roster because of clubhouse issues. He missed a team mandatory practice. I'm pretty sure that was purposely. There was some bad blood between them. However the case, he was left off the roster. Now you go into Kansas City, Sean, with a young team where you're bringing in prospects and you have this guy Chapman being in here. Now, obviously, it's a great chance for him to revive what happened in New York. We all know that things could get blown out of proportion in New York media, but moving forward, you got to think that that's got to be something that a small market team like Kansas City is definitely thinking about because we are.
Yeah. And, I witnessed that, like watching the Toronto Blue Jays really focus on their young guys and putting a lot of emphasis on clubhouse character and things like that. So it is a little surprising to see somebody with baggage, let's just call it that, coming in and, I don't know, mixing with young and up and coming stars like, Bobby Witt Jr. and so on, right? Like it seems, it seems odd, but everybody deserves a second chance, and Kansas City is willing to roll the dice and take that chance on whatever Chapman can give them. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see just how effective he can be in that role, because whether the Royals go anywhere or not, a good closer on a bad team can still save 20, 25 games, 30 games even. So, it might be the only 30 games that team wins in any given year. So, maybe Kansas City is hoping they've got lightning in a bottle here. And but on the surface, it does look kind of odd.
It does. It looks really odd. At the beginning of your thought process here, when I asked you about the Chapman, you said that he has the potential to become an elite reliever again. At least that's his hopes. You said reliever. You didn't say closer. Do you think that he can ever get back to that closer role, or do you see he being the potential closer in Kansas City, a team that maybe not is the New York Yankees, a team that is competing to get to just the ALCS? We haven't seen them in the World Series in a very long time. Yes, that was a shot at the New York Yankees on this podcast. However, what is your thoughts on that? Do you think we can get him back to a closer status? Is that gone?
I mean, I don't know. Like, if you're the Royals, why not? right? Like, what have you got to lose? Give it a shot. If you're a competing team, perhaps more and more competing teams are kind of going with high leverage innings, not necessarily a traditional closer role anyway. So I wonder if that may be kind of on the way out the door as a whole across baseball. But if you're Chapman, I think you kind of want that label. If it's me, I want to establish myself and get back to what I once was, right? I want to prove that I'm still that guy. So I can see him gunning for that closer tag, but I wouldn't be willing to hand him over the keys just because of the name on his driver's license.
Do you see him finishing the season with Kansas City, or is he exactly what we think he is, a trade chip for the deadline?
If he's healthy, I think he's a trade chip. Either way, I don't see him finishing the season with the Royals.
Good call.